Hi, welcome back with the Tea with Terika. We're back for another video. So today we're going to be doing Get Ready With Me while I do my makeup and I tell you guys a little story about my personal life like I usually do. So like I said, I do have my tea today. And we're going to get right into the story. So today we'll be talking more about one of my past coworkers. So my past coworker, we're going to call her Brenda. So Brenda, actually I'm going to change her name. Her name is going to be Brianna. Brianna, come on, call her Bree. So Bree and I both got hired at a hotel in the past. Back when I originally started at college, my graduate school for my career, I moved to where I currently live right now, and I needed a job really quickly. This is when I moved in with my crazy roommate at the time. So, like I said, when I originally moved here, I had to get a job and get money. God, I like to make my money. So when I originally got this job, it was at a really big, popular hotel in the area. So I started in the sales office. Mind you, I don't have any I have no experience with sales. I don't know how to sell anything. I've never been like a stores associate, never really worked in a store before, never done anything like a sales manager role. I never really did anything that surrounds talking to a lot of people, convincing them to buy something. So it was really different for me to be in this kind of environment. So that was my first experience working in sales. I thought that the interview with my boss at the time, I was really putting on a face, like I'm doing this, that, and the third, and I'm really good at communicating like that. I like to communicate. I'm a talker. But me selling stuff and persuading people, I didn't know if I can do that well. But to get the job, I could do it that day. So I ended up getting hired, and at the same time that I got hired with this other girl from the same place, my hometown. Her name was Brianna. We're gonna call her Bree during the story. So Bree and I, we were from the same town. We sounded like we knew the same people, like we went to the same areas. So when I first got there, she was, other than my roommate at the time, who we were friends, me and my roommate, this is the only person I thought I could connect to at the time. So this was back in May of that year. So back in May when we first got hired, I was like, okay, we're going to sync together. We're going to be cool. We're going to have a good time talking to each other. And I noticed from the very start that she wasn't about that life. She didn't want to talk to me. It was very superficial. She wanted to talk to all the other sales managers in the office. Would never want to do anything with me. I know the first day that we worked together, we did eat lunch together, but she wasn't about that. She was just like, when I asked her to eat lunch, a few days after we got hired, she's like, we're going to have to eat lunch together, right? And I'm just like, okay, cool, I can eat lunch by myself, but I was just asking, do you want to eat together? And that day she decided to eat with the other sales managers. And I was just like, you don't have to eat lunch with me, but at least be like, why don't you just eat with me and the other sales managers? So I was just like, okay, I didn't have to be friends with you. That's fine. So all that summer, I did not go to class because my class didn't start until August, so I had a lot of free time. So most of my time was spent at work. I worked 10-hour days, and me and her worked in the same position, me and Bree. We worked both as sales coordinators, group coordinators, and at the hotel we worked in the sales office. So we had the same position, we just worked with different markets. She worked more with sports and entertainment at the time, and I worked more with travel and corporate business, along with helping out with the wedding blocks that we had at the hotel as well. There's another sales manager / administrative assistant who was the main face of the office. I sat next to her near the face of the office as well, and then Bree sat in the back corner. Oh, not near us at all. But she would always come up, talking her talk, walking her walk, doing whatever she wanted around the office, telling people how much experience she had and what she could really do. And if you guys have not noticed, I'm looking over here because this is my mirror right here. So I didn't mention this before, but anything that I'm using, I'm going to try putting down in the comments down below. on my face. And if you guys want any other skincares or makeup videos, please let me know. So like I was saying with my story, she, like I said, they want to be friends with me. So I let it be. I'm not that kind of person that just goes around and be like, okay, be my friend, do whatever, do what I want, and we're going to be okay. So I just let it be, really. So I continued on with my day. Like I said, I spent most of my time at work, and we worked our work. And I noticed from the beginning that she's kind of slow in the process. I was slow too, but she said she worked before in sales or in a hotel at least. She had that background experience of working in a hotel. I did not. So a lot of questions I did have, I would try to direct to my peer before I brought to my boss. And she wasn't the nicest person when helping me, or she didn't want to help me at the time. So I just let it be. I like doing stuff on my own, and it was fine with me. So by August, I became more busy because I started classes, and I would leave some days earlier, and it was fine. So around August as well, and around the same start of my classes, we hired 2 more people onto staff that are around the same age as me and Bree. One people was actually recommended by Bree. It was her friend. We're going to call her Sarah. And the other person, she is now currently my friend right now in real life. And I'm not going to use her real name in here. So we're going to call her... what's a good name for her? I don't want her to get mad at me. What's a good name for her? We're going to call her Samantha. Yep, we're going to call her Samantha. Her name's going to be Sam in this video. So Sam, we hired Sarah and Sam. So Sarah is actually from the same high school that Bree went to. So Sarah and Bree were friends from the past. Sarah's actually was a grade below her, and they act like they were really good friends. And at the same time, they said they're going to become roommates because Bree at that time lived by herself in like a studio apartment. And the story behind Bree was that she came to Rochester originally back in April before she started at the hotel we worked at, and moved to her boyfriend. Her boyfriend cheated on her, and she, at the time, she had to move out, get her stuff, get her own apartment, and she basically was in the area by herself. So that's why I felt bad for her originally, but she's honestly very mean to me, so I didn't really feel bad for her in that moment. So on to the rest of the story. So around that time that Sarah and Sam started, she started being nicer to me. She wanted to include me and stuff. She started being super nice to me. Like, I like both Sarah and Sam that came in. So Sarah and Sam were actually really cool people. But since I didn't really have other friends outside of my roommate, and by this point, me and my roommate at the time, my crazy roommate from my previous videos, we have looked into that, like I just said, we weren't really talking. So I needed friends at the moment. And I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't desperate, but I didn't mind being friendly to people. People change over time, and maybe she's not very good, I thought, at the time, of being nice to people at first and just judging them on first contact. So that's what I thought she did. And I started being friends with her and Sarah, Bree and Sarah. So we went out and did like a lot of stuff together at first. We went apple picking, we went pumpkin picking, went to haunted houses. Like, it was fun at first. It was awesome. And over time, Bree started having problems with Sarah and directing it back to me. And I started seeing problems with Sarah. But Sarah is a different story. She's also one of those crazy roommates. And she's going to be a different story time from now. So this is right now going to be the coworkers part 1. I'm going to have a coworkers part 2. So for this part 1, we're just going to talk about Bree. So Bree was directing me about stuff about Sarah and like telling me all the stuff. And I realized that over time that I didn't really like Sarah, because Sarah was like, a lot of stuff that Bree was saying was actually true at the time. So I'm just like, really, Sarah, we're gonna play like that. So like I said, I'm going to leave a lot of stuff that is going to be said about Sarah to another story time. So from that point on, we didn't really hang out with Sarah. We started hanging out more with Sam. So Sam and I and Brie, we became really good friends, and we started hanging out more and doing all this stuff together. But over time, a lot of our friendship was like at work. But I did hang out with Brie a lot outside of where we go to her apartment. A lot after classes, before class, on the weekend. We hung out a lot, and we generally did a lot of stuff together. So what frustrated Brie with me was that I was always late. I'm Black. We were in like colored people time, and I'm late to everything. Like, I tell people I'm late, and I'm gonna be late. And there's no point of asking me to be on time because there's a good chance I'm going to be late. So that would frustrate her about me, and that I wouldn't communicate when I'm late. I lived in a very, like, not, like, good. I live in a good area, but it was a far away area. I'm a suburbs girl. So I just dropped my brush. So I'm a suburbs girl. So I did a lot. I lived a lot in the suburbs, so that's what I'm used to. So a lot of stuff that I've been to, I did a lot of suburban things. So I would travel places a lot. I don't have a problem doing that. And I would come to stuff like late, and I would agitate her, and she would talk a lot about me. And I didn't find out that until a little bit later. But between, let's say, I stopped talking to Sarah around September and October time, me and Brie got really close. Over time, I realized that, and a lot of our coworkers realized that she wasn't really doing her job that well. And between that time in December, we changed management. So they're really on our butts about keeping our paperwork good, making sure our contracts are signed, making sure everything's going through. But there was a lot of complaints coming back about Brie and her work. She was not doing that well. She was avoiding people's phone calls. So I think getting contracts signed, she wouldn't really be doing a lot of stuff. Like I said, she would walk her walk and talk her talk. She was a talker just like me, but the thing about me talking when I'm at work is I get my work done, and I still talk. She would continuously talk. And since the original girl that sat next to me up in front left, Brie, since September started, took over the wedding blocks. So she was like the wedding block coordinator. So she did a lot with the wedding blocks. And she really wasn't the best. She's really good at talking to people, like I said. And she's better than me. I'm like, if you haven't noticed, I stutter a lot. So she's better than me when talking about stuff, especially. But she's not good at following through on a lot of stuff that she does. And my boss, her boss, noticed that. And we would be assisting like certain sales managers in our own market. So hers was the catering and wedding block. And she's behind on a lot of stuff when it came to that. Like, she was really behind on a lot of stuff. So a lot of stuff I would help her out with because she's my friend. And my boss over time realized that I was helping this girl a little bit too much. Like, and around December, I was going out of town to see my sister who lives down south. So she was saying that she wanted to but she wanted to go to a different job where she has more experience in management. So I was like, okay, cool. Since she was feeling like she's being alienated, she didn't like the new management. But previous to that, in November, Sam asked us, do we want to go to an Ariana Grande concert that was in Buffalo, New York. So I was just like, okay, cool. Let me check my schedule. I thought I was going to a conference around that time. So I originally said no, and Sam and Brie bought tickets for it. Well, actually, Sam bought tickets and Brie said she'll pay her back. But I realized I did not know that at the time. So I'm going to move on. I'll come back to that a little bit later. So when I was going down south, like I said, she went to get a different job. I didn't realize how bad she was doing at her current job at the moment. So she, when I left, she said she wasn't put her 2 weeks in until after I get back. But when I did get back from being down south, I found that she did put her 2 weeks in, and she only had 1 more week left at work with me. I thought that was a little mysterious when she did that. So I was just like, why would you do that? That sounds weird. And Sam and Bree came to the airport picked me up, and I found that out. And she's acting all weird, like I knew this, but I actually did not know this. And Sam realized, oh, you didn't know this? They asked me after, and I'm just like, no, she told me that she couldn't do something different, and it was just a weird experience. So I'm like, why did she sit there and lie to me about it? That's weird. Like, why would you do that? I'm gonna fill my eyebrows a little bit more, and I'm going to blend a bit more. So within a week, she ended up leaving, and they were going through her computer. Our general manager, along with the director of sales and marketing, and they found out all these emails that Bree did not answer phone calls. She did not make back contracts. She did not make legit behind everything. And our general manager was like, if she did not quit, I would have fired her. She was not doing her job, and we found that out very soon that she was not doing her job. So she got a new job at a different hotel as a front office manager. It was a smaller hotel, and she was pretty decent. She thought that she was really high in management at the time, and I supported her all the way. And I remember brought up what the general manager said, and she was like, yeah, I wasn't really doing that much. And I'm glad that she took ownership for that. And I was just like, well, hopefully you like your new job better since you didn't like your job on the sales team. And she's like, okay, cool, that's awesome. So I noticed throughout our friendship that she's a very boy crazy kind of person. So there was this guy who worked downstairs in the hotel at the Starbucks. Very nice, fit, tattooed, like Harry Potter glasses. I'm into that geeky, like glasses, big dudes kind of people. My boyfriend's like that if you have not seen that. But anyway, this guy was very attractive at the time. I was single, so I'm just like, he was very attractive at the time. So we're both interested in him, and at some point, I asked for his number when he was leaving Starbucks and not coming back. So he was quitting his job, basically. So he was leaving, and I was asking him for his number, and Bree was the main person that handed him a sticky note and a pen, and was like, here, get my number, give me your number. He gives it back to her, but I'm the one who asked. So he gave the sticky note back to her, and I put the number in my phone, but not to be sneaky. I didn't do it to be sneaky. I just put it in my phone, and she kept the sticky note. And I was just like, it wasn't a big deal. He gave us both his number at the time, because I'm the one who asked, and you're the one who gave him the sticky note. So it seemed like there's a partnership in it. So like 2 days later, that weekend, I tell her that I just start texting this boy, the Starbucks boy. And she's sitting here like, oh, well, I didn't know you had his number. I'm like, well, we both got his number. I thought it was going to be okay. Within that second, she started texting him and asking him to come over and hang out, and they can do all this stuff together at her apartment. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, cool. And I told Starbucks boy, it seems like you're really into Bree, and you guys can hang out and do all this stuff together. I was texting him as a friend to see how he was doing since he just left work. And that'll be awesome if we can stay friends and communicate. I was not looking for anything more at the time, just being friendly. And she didn't see it as that, and she wanted to put her she wanted to put her foot forward all the time. I noticed that when it comes to boys, if I'm talking to someone, she's going to talk to like 3 other guys. If I'm doing something, she's going to do something better. And within our friendship, there was a lot of different things that were happening, and a lot of things that did not make sense a lot. So one thing that I noticed that she puts in a lot of little lies in places, and one of the main lies that I caught onto was when our boss was saying that at the time her daughter's boyfriend is in the army in the station in Guam. She brought up this whole exaggerated story about how she was actually born in Guam. Her dad was a mechanic, but wasn't actually in the army, but was a mechanic on the base. So her mom was there. They were married at the time, and because she was born with a heart murmur, she had to be flown to Syracuse, New York. And I'm giving you the name, to Syracuse, New York. Because you know why? That made no sense to me. If you guys don't know where Guam is, that's near the Philippines. Why would you fly halfway across the world to go back to New York? Tell me, what sense does that make? And I told her where Guam was, and she looked like a deer in the headlights. Because I don't think she knew where Guam was. She was just making up a story. And she said she took a helicopter, and I even made the joke that must have been a lot of gas in that helicopter to make it all the way to New York. Because I asked her before that too, why didn't you stop in California? And she said there's a specialty doctor that they know that is in Syracuse. And I'm like, you guys didn't take a plane, a jet, nothing, just a helicopter? Wow, okay. And then she got upset with me because I make all these questions. I'm just like, yeah, girlie, you didn't know where Guam was. So, and along that, also, her behaviors was different as well. So, around our Christmas party in December before she left anyway, a lot of the sales managers weren't really friendly to her. She didn't like all of them. But at this Christmas party, she was like really friendly with them, which I did not mind, but it doesn't match her personality and what she said. And I asked her after Christmas party, before she even left to go to her new job, is why were you so friendly with them if you don't like them? She's like, I can be cordial with my coworkers. Why are you asking me all these questions? I'm just like, it really sounds like you're sucking up to them in a way because you're leaving and you don't want to leave a bad impression. And she's like, Terika, you're always in my business, all this other stuff. I'm like, okay, you can keep your own business. I'm just letting you know that it sounds fake. And I'm sorry that I'm in your business because you sound fake. Period. So after she left, she started at her new job. Like I said, she was a front office manager. She brought to me and Sam that this weird, creepy maintenance guy was like stalking her and liked her too much, and that all this stuff was happening, that he didn't really like her. But a week later, they were making out after they went to the bar, and then suddenly they were in a relationship. And she was telling me how the policies follow that they can date and all this other stuff. So our coworkers, we're friends with two of these male sales managers, asked us how Bree was doing her new job. Asked me, since I'm still friends with her. I told her that she's fine, she's doing well, she likes it. It's so boring at some points, but she's in a new relationship, so she's doing really well. Just like standard surface level things. And Sam confirmed it because she was there with us. So she was going. I told Sam. I told Bree right after. I told her everything I say. I don't talk about people. I don't talk about people behind their back. I tell them exactly what I'm going to say. So in the midst of this, I tell her, and she gets mad at me. Tells me that I should be talking to coworkers who never reach out to her. And I'm like, okay, I understand that you're upset, and I'm sorry that I said that if I was overstepping the line. And she's just like, just never say stuff like that again. And one of my coworkers, because he used to be a general manager, said that her boyfriend, he has seen him before, and he's pretty sure that he's older than Bree thinks he is. And I brought up to Bree, and I didn't know that she was texting him at the time, asking him questions and accusing him and stuff. So within the conversation, she even said that they're together, but within this conversation, I noticed that when she's together with someone, she always has another man on the side. And she was asking me to take her back home, back to our home that upcoming weekend to basically sleep with this other dude. So I'm just like, okay, you have a boyfriend, but you want to sleep with this other dude. Okay, so that's cool. I'm gonna let your freak flag fly. Live your whole life. Like, I'm fine with that. So she was like doing all this stuff, and she was like, I thought she was over the conversation. We ate Chipotle, we sat there, watched a movie. She was fine. She didn't say anything else about it. The next morning, she texts both me and Sam, telling us that we're fake friends, putting out her business, that she can't trust us. We manipulated her into texting her boyfriend at the time and breaking up with him because I said that he's older than 30. I was like, that's not what I said. I didn't manipulate you to do anything. I told you what was told to me, and you did whatever came to you. It's not my fault that you went to him and told him all this stuff that made no sense. So I'm sitting here like, girl, get your life together right now. So she got mad at me, didn't want to talk to me. Like a week later, we went out to get lunch, and we tried having a conversation to resolve this. And she's sitting here like, you're putting my business out like this. You need to apologize, like telling me this and not telling Sam, who was sitting next to me. Like every single attitude was directed at me. I'm like, I'm like, I already apologized to you, and you said you don't accept my apology because it's not genuine. She literally sat there and said she would not accept my apology because it wasn't genuine. And I said, okay, that's fine. I'm not apologizing anymore. I'm not going to apologize to you because you think I'm talking about you behind my back. I'm not. And she was on board story our friendship over something stupid like this. So I said, okay, we don't have to do anything. We don't have to be friends. That's fine. And legit, a few days later, she went out with Sam, and Sam came back to her and told me that all Brie did was talk crap about me the entire time. And I said, that's fine. She can do whatever she wants. Mind you, a week later, me and her go out to eat. We eat food. We go to Wegmans. We walk around. It was fine. About her new boyfriend, what he gave her. We had a good conversation. It was fine. And she asked me, are we still friends? And I'm like, yes, we're still friends. I pushed everything that happened aside, and we can still be friends. People make mistakes. And upcoming weekend we were in February at this point. Upcoming weekend was Valentine's Day. Me, Sam, and Brie supposed to have like this big Valentine's Day spa day, taking pictures, just like a girls' chill day, basically. And it was gonna be a really good time. And she's sitting here, and I'm sitting here like, it's gonna be a really good time. And I'm buying stuff for it. We're gonna make food. We're gonna do our nails, all this other stuff, face masks. Like I said, pictures. It was gonna be great. And I find out like 2 hours before it's going to happen that Brie wants to push it back because she worked an overnight shift. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. We can do it a little bit later. I'm going to do homework. I was still in grad school. And then later that evening, I find out once I get to Sam's house where it was going to be that Brie wasn't coming. She completely decided that she's not coming. But she never texts me. She texts Sam that she wasn't coming. I'm like, okay, she didn't text me, but it's fine. She's not coming. She's too tired. She don't have to come. And throughout the entire day, I was sending snaps to my story about everything we were doing. Because, social media is the main point of our life. And if you don't have anything on social media, are you really living? Who knows? So going on, throughout the day, she kept messaging Sam about what they're going to do, make up for Valentine's Day. What they're going to do, they're going to make food together. They're going to do nails together. They're going to buy each other Valentine's Day gifts. We're going to do all this stuff together throughout the day. And she wasn't texting me anything at all. And I'm sitting here like, we legit made up 2 days prior. And now you're not even talking to me. And I was not going to text her. I was not going to confront her. I'm just like, this just shows how fake you are going to be. And it was like the weirdest thing. It was so weird. Like, you can't even show up. And if you're texting, apparently you're up. So you decide at the last minute that you're not coming. Why? So I just left it alone. And she made plans with Sam after. And legit a few days later, she ghosted Sam too. Ghosted. And they didn't talk. And I think the concert was in near March or April. And Sam ended up asking me, do I want to go? And when she asked me, I'm like, okay, cool. And she's like, well, Brie never paid me for the tickets. I spent like over $300 on these tickets for both of us to go. And I'm just like, I'll pay you. I paid her immediately for those tickets. And the ticket was mine. She has them on her phone. I already paid for them. Ticket's mine at this point because I paid for them. And Brie, I noticed in the past that anything that you would do that would be super expensive, she is very tight on money. So when Sam told me how much the tickets were originally back in like January, I was like, yeah, Brie's not going to pay you for those. And Sam was like a face value, really nice person. She's like, no, she's going to do it. Ghosted her a month later. So I'm just like, I'll pay you. Let's go. We're going to have a good time. We're going to get a hotel. We're going to do all this stuff up in Buffalo. We're going to turn up and go to Ariana Grande concert. And a week before the concert, Brie messages Sam telling her that she's so excited for the Ariana Grande concert. And Sam was playing out just like, you haven't talked to me in like over a month and a half. I asked Terika to go with me. I'm sorry, but you never paid me for the tickets. And she was like, she brought this whole sob story, Brie, about how her mother is back home with pneumonia. By the way, Brie doesn't have a car, so how are you taking care of her? She said she was taking care of her. You don't have a car to take care of no one. And you don't have money to take care of no one. So, and how she's been stressed out and no one ever asked her how she's doing. Basically making herself the victim of the situation. And how dare you give my ticket away to Terika. And Sam was playing out, Terika paid me. You didn't pay me. you sat here and I'm pretty sure you weren't going to pay me. And Sam was like, well, there's resale tickets. And Bree went on, like, they're $102. And Sam was like, our tickets are $152. And Bree told Sam to have a good day. I was like, because that point, she was not going to pay you back. And at that point, I never talked to Bree ever again. Brianna is nothing to me at this moment. I know for a fact over the course of that year, she was reaching out to our coworkers, some happy birthday. She reached out to Sam. Sam ignored her on her birthday. She never told me happy birthday, but she did reach out to me through Instagram, tell me that we left on bad terms and that she hope I'm doing well in life. I did not talk to her. I don't want to hear it about her. I'm not in the mood because honestly, at the end of the day, there's some fake people and she's a fake person. And I'm not about to communicate anything with any of that bull right now. So I just left it. And I hope you guys don't communicate with fake people either, because some people like to be your friends and at the end of the day, you find out that they're not. So I want to thank you guys for sitting here with me doing my Get Ready With Me. I'm sorry it wasn't a long one. I don't really do eye makeup and I like to do the all natural look. So if you guys are interested in the products that I have, I'm going to put those down below. But thank you for tuning in with me. This was the Tea with Terika. Let me get my tea. Have a good day. Bye-bye.